All right, good evening. This is Andre down here in Jacksonville, Florida, of Overcoming the Odds. This one, get ready to share with you the three main ways to help grow your business. And what you pay attention to when we share these ideas and these concepts, you really see how they're used not only in uh, uh, online marketing, but also offline marketing, and also in traditional business, brick and mortar businesses. But without any further ado, let's go and introduce the rest of the panel. Let's go out there to New Mexico.
Hey everyone, my name is Aaron Martinez coming at you again from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and happy to be here. It's another Friday, another time to mastermind with these great folks here and to deliver some pretty cool stuff to you guys. So I'm looking forward to talking about what we're talking about today, and yeah, I'll pass it on to Patricia.
Hi guys, I'm out here in California, and one thing about our little masterminds overcoming the odds is that's what we are all doing, trying to overcome the odds that are out there for our businesses and trying to get the information out to you. If you have a home-based business, you have a brick and mortar business, or whatever kind of business you have, that this information can benefit you as well.
Hey guys, my name is Neil Henson. I am residing in the UK, so it's 11 p.m. my time. But like I say, we're always here every single week, no matter what. No matter what, we're always here because this is basically what we're here to do. We want to educate you. We want to help you take your business to the next level. And the main focus tonight will be about the three top ways of getting more sales, getting more sign-ups in your business, but also getting them to take more action. So if you've got them to take one particular step, then we're talking about different ways in which you can take them to the next level. So maybe you've got someone through the door. What do you do now to get them to the next level? So maybe if it's, you've got them as a sign-up, how do you convert that sign-up into a sale? Or maybe you convert that sale into a repeat sale, or maybe in a high-end sale. There's a few different things that we'll be discussing tonight. But yeah, stay tuned and we will go through everything in this hangout.
All right, and also before we get underway, we're not going to guarantee you any type of particular results because obviously results are not typical. They do vary. So see the income disclosure below. When we're talking about results, also yeah, when we talk about numbers as far as the financial part, but they are very possible, believe it or not. And this to get right into it, as far as now, think about it. Get into the three main ways to help grow your business are obviously to grow or to build or increase your business. For those that are in the home-based business, professional, or even traditional brick and mortar business, what's the number one thing that we all see that you got to have to get rolling? You got to have the customers roll in. I don't care how you say it or however you want to word it to. You got to have customers of some type of way. Obviously, in the home-based business world, you got to have sponsor and recruiting. You got to keep the business rolling. And it's not just them just getting it in and just buying whatever. It's the products too that you're offering, because that's obviously going to be the ones. Obviously the main source of cash flow coming into your business. That's the lifeline of your business. Period. So that's number one. Number two will be getting customers to spend more. Perfect example of this, and we were mentioning this before we went live, is Walmart. They're absolutely outstanding with this. Sam Walton was a genius many years ago as far as getting customers to not only just come in for whatever they want, to get, but also to spend more while they're there. And then how they had the setup within the store is kind of genius as well. Another cool company that's pretty good at this too, believe it or not, is Amazon. They're really good at this as well too, as far as the online part is offering so many different varieties of different supplies or products too for people. And then the third one would be to get customers to to get customers to buy now and more often. So again, what we just mentioned a few moments ago too, with those two companies, for Amazon, Walmart, you'll be able to see how that's also transferred into, like as we mentioned this a few moments ago, the home-based business world as well. So that's just why I wanted to let you know, just to have that in the back of your mind as far as those three ideas: get customers to spend more, get customers to buy now and more often. So How to, let's get right into number one. As far as what we just shared a few moments ago, it's just to get customers. For us in the online world, what's the main thing when we do simple way as far as to get people just to see, okay, what in the world is it that they're doing? There are a whole different list of ways. Value, some type of value. Obviously, knowing what your target market wants. But you gotta be clear first of all before you can just go out and start shooting whatever. Like let's say if I want to, give out some type of marketing strategies online, but I'm talking about personal development. That's kind of like incongruent as far as what my target market is looking for. As Neil, you mentioned that right before we went live too, as far as like it has to be congruent as far as what you want to start getting your potential customers in for whatever offer that you have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll just give you an example because it was something that you just kind of triggered a thought when you were talking just a moment ago. And one of my first jobs I had when I first left school, I used to work at Toys R Us. Now, I know there are Toys R Us's over in America because it's an American-based company, but they're also quite big here over in the UK. Now, the one thing that I always used to get baffled at when I was a customer, when I worked there, there was always changing things around, and I couldn't ever understand it. So I'm just like, why don't you just leave it as it is? I could never understand why you would constantly. It's like you change that, then you go somewhere else, and you're going to change that, and you're going to change that, and it was only until I started looking into this business that we're doing, I understood more of what it is. And I'll give you a brief explanation. Hopefully this will all tie in together. But I was watching a TV program a little bit earlier on this week. And on that program, they were talking about a specific strategy that certain shops employed. And this one particular time they did a test. And that was when we positioned diapers at a certain place, if we put each item in the store next to that diaper, what is the top selling item when it comes to pairing the two together? So if you paired, I don't know, crisps with diapers or whatever, you could pair anything you want inside of one particular shop. Now I think it's an average grocery store shop, so there could be a variety of different things. You could have milk, you could have food, all sorts. Don't seem quite right to have them two together. But of all the things that would actually pair the two together, what would sell the most, and that, believe it or not, was alcohol. Now, that's not something you would honestly think to pair the two together. They just don't seem logical to go together. So, it's not until you actually test it that these things actually work, and you just think, I would have never thought that alcohol would go most with selling diapers, and we figured the only reason why that could possibly be is because that women asked the guys to go pick up the diapers. And obviously, if they put alcohol right next to it, it's their, screw it, I'm gonna have a couple of beers, and it was the biggest seller for them. And back to the point of the store, it's one of them where they kept changing it around. I couldn't figure it out, but again, they was changing it around because it was working to see what sold the most. And I didn't understand it. For me, it was just a case of, right, set it up and just leave it. I didn't, I was a kid anyway, so I didn't really understand. But it's one of them where you're constantly testing to see what works. So, if you think about when you've got somebody coming to your store, or your website, you could potentially look to redesign that website. Now, I'm not talking completely, but you just do simple little tweaks. So if you've got a website and you've got a pop-up that pops straight up, maybe you could change that banner. Or maybe you could give them another idea, or if you've got a capture page that's on the left-hand side, where left-hand side of your blog, you could put it to your right-hand side. You could put it straight across the top. It could be across the bottom. There's a few different tweaks that you can do, and it's up to you to test and optimize and see what the best possible outcome is of that. It's all down to testing, because you can't just put it in one place. Like I was coming back to the whole point of when I was younger, thinking put it there, leave it. Job done. It's there, and it would just. I wasn't thinking it would just have to do. I was just thinking, well, it's there. That's it. I wasn't thinking at all about optimization. That didn't even cross my mind. Just thinking it might do better if it was here, or it's all to do with testing. So how can you make things better? Now, there's no such thing as perfection. So don't strive for 100%, because that's just unrealistic and it's not possible. You might on a one-off but it's not something that is going to consistently happen. So you can achieve the optimum results, and some people do get as high optim rates. We're just talking about emails here. So when people sign up to an email submit, people can get up to 80%. I think I've heard, so that's quite high. But I wouldn't ever be asking, looking for 100%, because it's just not going to happen. So it's all to do with tweaking your results. That's what it's all about. But same as what Andre just said. Why are people coming to your website? If your website is selling a particular product, then why they're there. They're there for that particular reason. But if you've got a blog, for example, and your blog covers it covers one specific niche, but those niches can break down into different subjects, then it's up to you to figure out what the main reason is why they're coming there. And once you've got that, then you can couple that with a particular giveaway, and then you're more likely to. I mean, we can't guarantee your results. I'm not going to say that this will work. It's just logic that if they're coming to your website wanting to know how to generate more leads or get more traffic, and you've got a particular giveaway that helps them get more traffic or more leads, it just stands to reason that you would get more opt-ins. So it's just come back to the point that Andre said about congruent. If they're coming to you for one reason and you're trying to get them to do something else, it's they're there for what they want. They're not there for what you want. So it's all well and good you saying, I want you to have this. The fact is, if they're there for something else, it's not going to. It just don't work. You need to think about what they're there for. What's the reason why they're there for? Everyone goes on the internet for a particular reason. If you go to a search engine, you're going to the search engine because you have a question, you have a query, you have a problem. And it's the same. It's kind of the same thing when they come to your blog. They come into your blog or your website because they've got a problem, or they want to buy something, or they need something, and it's up to you to fill that void. And if you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. So don't try and push them into what you want. It's all to do with what they want and you filling that void. Because remember, they've got the control, and if you ain't going to give it to them, they're going to find someone else's. So the only way to optimize is to figure out why they're there, why they're coming to your website, what it is that they want, and how you can help them. And the only way once you've done that, then you can go on to the next step.
I know. I remember hearing from Paul Hutchings, who's one of our six-figure earners within our company that we're going to be talking about here later on. Was mentioning just a couple things too, like especially in the network marketing offline world, and it's the same thing in online as well. As far as well, number one is like I think if I'm not mistaken, is either make a friend. Then number two, find a problem, and number three, suggest a solution. And those are just three simple ways as far as to get to know somebody. Two, but at the same time, find out exactly what it is that they're looking for. What Neil just kind of broke down a little bit as well. And it's also think about it too in the online world. It's finding that rapport, building rapport. It's not always about building relationships, which are great, by the way. I'm not taking anything away from that too, but it's just the responsiveness. Like how often are people responding, and that's really critical, especially in the online world, which I know I've learned here the last couple of years, because I mean, yeah, you can do the best you can making friends, so there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not taking anything away from that, but again, it's just how responsive are those people that are following you, or paying attention to what you're doing. A perfect example, if you have an email sequence, how many people are opening those emails? Like if it's something that's, again, kind of what Neil just shared, it's congruent with your message as far as what you have to offer them. If it's something that can just help them, again, explode their business more often, it's congruent with what you just pretty much promoted earlier for them to go and put the email and information in. So that's just something to think about as well. And I know I said three things, but the two key ones is to find a problem and suggest a solution. Toys R Us is a perfect example of that, what you just mentioned, Neil. As far as when you have the kids with you, and like, oh, okay, and like, mom, let's go do this, and then they can knock out really two birds with one stone. A lot of retail stores do that as well, because I remember working in a retail store here in the United States. I know Aaron and Patricia, you guys might know about this, is Big Lots. Did the same thing as far as moving certain items around the store or whatever. I used to be the same way, and they're like, what in the world are they doing? But they were doing that for they're getting ready for particular seasons. For example, Thanksgiving, guess what? You have the decorations I'm not mistaken, a little bit closer toward the front of the store. So if somebody wants to come up too, it's like, oh man, this is pretty sweet. And we started doing this, if I'm not mistaken, like right after, well, I take it back, really like late October, getting ready for Thanksgiving. Then get ready for Christmas. They started that, honestly, like early November. This keeps on going on and on and on and on. And then, for Patricia's favorite day of the year, Black Friday, they just really started loading up a whole bunch of stuff within the store, and this stuff that people would need, want, or just whatever, spend on anything and everything. Just about. That's what it looks like to me. So that's just something just to keep in mind too. It can pretty much to break state, grab your attention. It's no different. Again, going back to the online world, like a particular landing page or whatever. And what Neil mentioned is true as far as testing. You got to figure out maybe the text too small, or maybe the picture might be too big or too bright, or whatever. Just testing to see, okay, it's just going to be able to work to grab the attention, again, for potential customers to come on in to maybe, again, buy your product too, or maybe be a potential customer. So that's just something just to keep in mind as well.
Well, Andre, I was going to say, me being a fashion designer, or used to be a fashion designer, we have 5 seasons a year, and of course geared on spring, summer, fall, and they've invented another one called holiday because of the holiday season. And clothes would be geared to people who want to go out and go party. And then the other inventive season was cruise. When it's cold in the northern states or northern countries, whether you're rich or poor, you want to escape, you want to take a vacation at that time, and you want to maybe buy a new pair of clothes to go there. So, we had to come up with different ways of obviously doing trends for the customers so that they would buy said items, and you create that culture or atmosphere for them in your advertising. And as an online marketer, we know that we have to do our advertising, and we need to have what you call it, like attraction marketing, drawing people to us. So when you have a customer that you're trying to target, it's crucial to know their mindset and what they're looking for, like you said, and what's that trigger that's going to make them buy, whether it be color. You said testing. I mean, sometimes it was so funny. The customer sometimes it's not the word fickle, but they are used to certain things, and it may take a lot to sway them to another side or another direction, because we can research all the fashion colors in the world for that particular season, and then what does the buyer come in and buy? One color, black. I mean, it's no. You want them to buy a different color, and you've done your research. I know in the fashion industry we have color resources and Pantone colors, and we know that even Tiffany, if you look at Tiffany, they use a certain blue. I think it's registered to them. It's trademarked. No one else can use it. You probably have to get permission to use that particular shade of color. But with blue and pink, you're thinking, well, blue overall sells more than anything. A certain shade of blue, and of course the red. Red, if you want to really attract someone, that's going to get their attention. And green, the color of money, that attracts everybody, I think. But yeah, so with a particular customers that you're trying to target and get them to buy and buy more, you have to find out their hot buttons and what really they want to buy.
I would also say you need to think, because this is something that I was just about to say to you guys before we went live, and it's not something I've ever come across before, and that was it was my niece's birthday yesterday. Now I brought her presents like a couple of months ago, everything won't go, so it's like Christmas present, get birthday presents. But after buying the presents, I very quickly realised that she already had the presents because my brother brought them. Now, I specifically asked them, and well, obviously we didn't communicate very well, but anyway, I took them back. Now, when I took them back, I got a refund because I couldn't find anything in store. But when I got the refund, they gave me the money back to my card, but they also asked me if I wanted to be emailed the receipt Now, I've never had that before. Now, I mean, if you think about, I don't know if you guys have, I think you've got Next over there, haven't you, in the UK, in the US? But like when you go into the US, when you go into Next, it's like straight away they'll ask you, do you want a free catalog? Can we take your name? Can we take your details? So they've got your name, address, and email address. They've got creative ways, kind of like that. What I was just saying there about the whole receipt thing. They're coming up with creative ways of obtaining your contact information. So in that case, it's like they ask me because, you know, chances are I'm going to, you know, how many times have you put a receipt in your purse or your wallet and you misplaced it and then you can't find it? So in this case, they offered me to email it to me, which was for me, yeah, cool, because then I don't have to worry about the, you know, the receipt in my pocket. So all right, said yes. Now they've got my email address. So now they just continue to email me about their promotional offers, and obviously the more they email me, the more exposure they get, and chances are the more I'm going to go back to them. And that's another key as well, because you can't just simply email someone once and expect them to, you know, become a lifelong customer to you. The more consistent you are, the more you're in their inbox, and the more you're, I won't say in their face because that sounds a bit intrusive, but the more they see you, the more they get to know about you, then the more they're going to buy, the more they're going to buy from you, because they know you as a person. So, you know, now that this Mothercare and other places have got my email address, you know, if they start emailing me promotional offers, when the time comes, I've got a couple of nieces now, so, you know, when the time comes, when things come around, special occasions, even if I just see something, oh yeah, you know, maybe I just fancy treating one of my nieces and I see something that they've got. You know, if they hadn't have emailed me in the first place, I wouldn't have obviously opened it. I wouldn't have been aware of this particular product, and if it wouldn't have struck me, I would have brought that particular item anyway, but I would have gone somewhere else. And this is the point I was coming back to. I mentioned earlier, I was looking for a particular thing for my niece. Maybe I just wanted to treat. I didn't have something particular in mind, but I got a present in mind. Now, in this case, it could be anything. So, but I had one main thing on my mind. I wanted to buy something for my nieces. Now, if they hadn't have emailed me, I would have gone somewhere else because I was looking for something for my nieces. So if you're not offering them what they want, they're going to go somewhere else regardless. So you can't try and persuade them to get onto your way of thinking and say you might want this anyway. It's like, no, they're there for a particular reason. And if you're not offering them what they want, they're going to go elsewhere. And like I say, you just got to also come up with creative ways. Think outside the box. So, you know, is there anything? I'm not saying create the wheel, but just think of little things that you could also do that could try and increase more results, or just maybe how you could take their experience to another level. You know, thinking about McDonald's are great for this. You know, if you go to McDonald's and you just ask for one particular thing, most of the time people go in because they want a burger. Straight away, they'll always ask you if you want fries with that, or if you've got fries, do you want to go large? They're always looking to try and get you to go more, regardless of what that is. So they're always looking to link it very closely. Well, to be honest, it's McDonald's, so they do it very well because everything's all under one house. But when somebody comes to you and somebody buys something from you, if they're buying something that is one thing, so they're buying traffic, you know, are you offering them something that's completely something else? Just again because it fits your agenda, and it's exactly the same point. It's why are they there, and how can you make their experience better? If you're trying to cross promote them into something that's non-related to a specific product, they're going to very quickly realize what you're doing, and they're not going to like it, because people don't like to be sold to, but they love to buy. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard that phrase quite a lot, and it is very, very true. So if somebody's there to buy, I don't know, maybe they're there to buy. Let's say, for example, they're there because they want help with a website. Just hypothetically, they want help with a website, and they've got a website template or something like that. The next logical step at that point would be to offering them something like website hosting, because once you've got a website, you need hosting in order to make it live on the internet. Now, if you'd have offered them something else, just completely out of the way, something that would have been non-specific towards a website, they would be like, no, because it just doesn't make sense for me to actually buy that. And they'll very quickly realize all you're trying to do is just get money out of them, and they won't like it. They'll go somewhere else because they don't want the hassle of you offering them products that are not related to what they want. But if you say to them, oh, do you want website hosting? Yeah, no problem, because I've got a website. I'm going to get a website, so hosting, next logical step. Okay, so now you've got website hosting. How would you like us to perhaps start sending targeted visitors to your website? You know, I've seen it happen before. I mean, granted it was a few years ago, but it's the next logical step. You've got a website, you've now got hosting. If they can help you with getting people to your website that are targeted to what you're doing, would you say no? Probably not. Some people might, but that's the point. You know, not everyone's going to take you up on the offer. That's why you can't expect 100%. But it's the next logical step, because if you haven't got website visitors, you haven't got a business. It's as simple as that. So it's just the next logical step. If you've offered them something completely non-related to the reason why they're there or what they want, they're just going to very quickly realize that you're not interested in their interests. You're only interested in your own. And I don't know about you, but that's not something I particularly like. People want a good user experience. People want to know that they're being listened to. People want to know they're being valued. And if you're not listening to them, and you know, how many times have you had a conversation with someone and got irritated because you realise they're probably watching the TV, or they're not even paying attention, or you have to, you know, grab their attention by waving your hands or something. You know, I'm sure we've all done it a few times where you've had a conversation and you realise they're not even paying attention, so you have to say it again. And you don't show it straight away, but it does kind of, all right, it does maybe it just annoy you a little bit. You don't perhaps show it, but the point is, you know, we all want to feel valued. We want to feel listened to. We want to feel that our needs, what we want, is being catered for. Especially when you're buying something, when you're paying for something, nothing else should matter apart from you. When someone is talking to you, you know, when you're in the shop and you're asking for help, or you're asking for advice, or you're asking, you know, what's the difference between. Come back to the point of when I worked at Toys R Us. I specifically worked in the bike section. When someone came across to me and said, you know, what's the difference between this bike and this bike? Why is that one more expensive than that one? What features does that one have that that one don't? These were the kind of questions that I would get. But if they were asking me them questions and I'm staring down there because, you know, perhaps something's caught my attention, you know, I'd be like, oh, sorry. Do you think that person is not going to, he might not express it straight away, but he's going to quickly realise that I was not paying attention. And if they're going to think that they're just going to go there to have to repeat themselves, or, you know, they're not going to be listened to, or, you know, it's not going to come as a good customer experience. So they're just going to very quickly think, you know what, I'm just going to go somewhere else, because they're obviously not that bothered about me. And that's the thing, we want to feel valued. And if you don't feel valued, you're going to go somewhere where you are going to feel valued. So like I say, you just need to, when you want, if you're looking to get the next thing, so if you get in a sale, if you want to cross-promote them, get more, try and sell more to them, it needs to be very, very targeted towards the reason why they're there. So again, coming back to the point, if they're looking, just for example, to get a standard website set up, you know, if you've got a blog or a WordPress website or whatever, then you offer them a website design, okay, give them a couple of templates, then offer them website hosting, then you offer them traffic. You know, it's the next logical step that they would need. So think about what that person wants in their mind. So if they're there for one product, what product would you think would be the next logical step for them? And that's when you're looking to, not only one, would you be getting more out of them in that particular time, but also over time, because you offer them such a great experience right there, if you came back to them again, they're going to automatically think, okay, so the last time I came, it was absolutely great. It gave me everything that I needed and more, and took my experience to the next level and gave me things that I didn't even think I needed. You know, how many times do you think they're going to open your emails? How many times do you think they're going to come back to you because of the great experience you gave them, and even went well and above beyond they could be more than they could have even expected? You know, it's all to do with that. Think about getting into your customer's mindset. Where are they? What do they want? And how can you excel in showing them, you know, you're the authority. You're going to help them with what they want and take their experience to the next level, even beyond what they're actually expecting.
And
I'll add on to that right now. Just a few things based off what everybody has said. You guys covered it pretty well, but one thing I wanna do is talk about who your customers really are, because not everybody is going to be your customer. And so the example that I like to use is, if you're selling steak and prime rib, you don't want to go after vegetarians necessarily, right? Like you want to target people that are going to be interested and likely to want what you have. And that's just a little little example there for that. Another thing is when you're talking to people, you want to ask questions. Ask questions. Be genuinely interested in what they're all about, what they want. Just like treat them like you would treat like a new friend, somebody you just met, and get to know what it is that they get excited about, what it is that they struggle with, and if you have a solution, then and only then present it. Don't try and present your solution to everybody, because not everybody is looking to solve the problem that your solution is there for. And if by chance they are looking for something that you don't have as a product, or maybe you know of something that could help them outside of what you're doing, go ahead and recommend it, even if it's considered competition. They'll remember you for making the good recommendation to them. And I learned this from listening to Jordan Belfort, he's the guy, the Wolf of Wall Street, one that movie and book were based off of. And so that's one of the things he says to do. Like, you wanna have that edge over anybody else, because if you don't give somebody what they want, they're gonna go to somebody else for it. So you want to be the one that has control, but you want to make them feel like they have control, if that makes sense. You want to present it in such a way that they feel like it's their idea to buy from you. You give them the facts, you give them the benefits, you ask questions, and then make sure that if you're gonna try and put anything else in front of them, that you segue into it in such a way that it's congruent with what you're already doing, or whatever it is that they're wanting. Because if you don't, then they're gonna lose interest, and they're not necessarily gonna want to even consider buying or utilizing what it is that you are trying to sell them or promote or whatever. So just to get customers, just be genuinely interested, and you want to build rapport with them is what you want to do. And the way to do it is just not to even be, don't be like pitching things over and over again. Just bring it up when it naturally comes up in your conversation, but focus on them and their needs and things they get excited about to begin with. So, and say their name. Say their name. People love to hear their name. They love to be addressed by name. So, very important. So.
Just on top of that though, there was something that I actually learned a little bit earlier on this week, and it was something that it made sense, and I don't know how I didn't realise this before now, but when people buy, I think the way I heard it anyway, the biggest problem and the biggest reason why people struggle to make sales is because people try to relate to people's logic rather than people's emotion. And there's two different, obviously your logic is up here, but your emotion is in your heart. Now, I'll give you a quick example on this, and this is something that kind of made me smile, because I know that I've done it a few times, and I'm pretty sure that I would say every single person on this panel here has done it. In fact, anybody who's watching, I would challenge you to tell me you haven't done this. And this is, I'm not going to say this specific example is going to be, but in one way or another is going to relate to you, and that is, just think of a time, maybe, all right, two examples. Maybe one time when you've been on a diet, or when you've been saving for something, okay? And in the case of when you've been on a diet, how many times have you come across, maybe you're sat at work and you're trying to be really good. I've got a few people who I work with, and they're all on a diet. Now, we do have this trolley that comes by, and they sell cakes every single day, and every single one of them usually are pretty good. But now and again, they're always like, you know what, I really shouldn't, but you know what, I've got to eat that cake. And it's one of them where you know, up here, you know you shouldn't have that cake, but the fact is, in your heart, you really want that cake. Now, what happens when your heart really wants something? Your mind will find a way of logically saying, you know what, we can do it. You know, in the case of a diet, or where you're trying to save money. You know, if you brought something because you don't feel you can afford it, maybe you're trying to save for a holiday, maybe you're trying to save for something, and something that you've been after for absolutely ages is at a cut price discount, where you're literally, you know what, if I don't get this, I'm never going to get it at this price again. Now, chances are you probably will get it again, but at that present moment, you're just thinking, I want that because it's at such a good price, I'm never going to see it again. Now, again, it's in your heart. You really, really want that. So up here, you logically know you shouldn't buy it because you can't afford it. Or in the case of eating the cupcake, you shouldn't really eat it because it's you're on diet. You know, you're trying to get slim for the holidays or whatever it is you're trying to do. You've got something up here. I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't do it. What happens? The more you keep thinking about it, because you really want it, you eventually start twisting it to think, you know what, if I have that cake, I can go to the gym another 2 times and I can still make my weight. Or, you know, if I buy this particular product, I'll just work a couple extra hours overtime, or whatever. You'll try and think of a way to logically justify your reason for having whatever it is that you want. And that's the way it works. If you appeal to the heart, people will rationalize the reason for buying it, regardless of whether they say they want it or whether they don't. You know, at the end of the day, people are going to find a way of getting what's really in their heart. So, you know, back to the point of being on a diet, like I said, I've worked with quite a few people, perfect time of year, straight away say, new year, new me, going to go on a diet. And, you know, a fair play to them, they are doing very well. But time and again, something will come around and they're literally having to walk away to avoid the temptation, because they knew if they sat there, they would give in to temptation. And that's basically because in their heart, they want it. And eventually, the longer they stay there, the more they're going to try and rationalize having that cake as a way of, you know what, if I go there, I'm just going to go to the gym a couple extra times and have a couple of extra hours in the gym, and I'll still get down to my perfect weight. But they'll try and rationalize what they really want. So, you know, logically, they shouldn't, and they know they shouldn't. But in their heart, they really want it. And that's the thing. So it's like when people try to appeal to your logic, you know, at first it makes sense logically, but people have such a thing as called buyer's remorse. People buy it and then suddenly something kicks in and you're thinking, you know what, I really shouldn't have brought that. And so what happens, that's when you get a large refund rate, because you've only appealed for their logic side. If you appeal to their emotional side, you know, back to the point of what we do, and you're basically saying, you know what, if I can help you get to this level, if I can help you do this. Now, again, we're not here to offer you any specific results, and there's no results guaranteed. So, you know, I'm not going to guarantee you any kind of results, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if I was to say to you, you know, I could help you get to the next level, I could help you retire from your work this year, you know, something like that, something that really means something to you. Maybe you want to travel the world, maybe you want to spend more time at home, whatever it is you want to do, that's what you want in your heart. Now, if I'm appealing to what's in your heart as well as what's logically in your head, so I'm not saying I'm going to retire you by tomorrow, because again, we all want to retire tomorrow. Yeah, definitely. Logically, that's not really going to happen. We know that. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort. But if I say to you, I can help you do this by the end of this year, it's going to logically make sense, and it's something that really means something in your heart, it's something you really want, that's when you capture both. And that's when you know, chances are they are going to have that buyer's remorse, but then they come back to the point, and this is where you grab their emotion, and you're just like, I actually want to do this, so you know what, I'm not going to return this, I'm going to find a way of making it happen. And regardless of what they feel, or how much they're struggling, or whatever it is, the reason why they would logically go back to them, if you've only appealed up here, then you will, if you can appeal down here back to the point, they can try and logically say, you know what, I should return it because I just can't afford it. And then down here it's like, well, yeah, but if you don't do that, then, you know, chances are you're not going to make your end goal. Whereas if you stick with this and just see out this plan, then chances are you've obviously got more chance of seeing it out. If you appeal to both, you've got more chance of them sticking with you rather than just appealing to the logic and then them suffering with buyer's remorse. I haven't done any analysis on it, so I don't know the percentage of it. But I mean, how often is it that people buy something and then go and get a refund for whatever reason? And it is quite high. I'd probably hazard a guess of something around 10 to 15%. Again, I've not done no analysis, so I can't throw out numbers and say that they're valid. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just hazarding a guess. But I'm just saying that if you're just throwing out rationalizations or logical reasons for why they should buy it, so something that I think I was reading just before I came on here. If you're just throwing out the features of your product, then you're only appealing to their logical side. Whereas if you display an emotion that they're going to feel when they get a particular product, or what they're going to do when they get a particular result of a product that you're offering them, then you're appealing to their emotions. And once you do that and you offer them a logical reason why they can do it, you've coupled that both together, and you increase your chances of getting them to take more action. So if you're coming back to the point, if you're just trying to get them to buy the sale, fair enough, but just remember the key rule. If you get them to buy in, make sure that anything you offer them is very, very closely related, because if it's not, you're going to snap them out of that buying mentality, and they're just going to very quickly leave and just think, you know what, I'm not even interested anymore, because it just doesn't make sense. It's like we almost go into like a hypnotic trance when we're in a particular state of buying something. We almost like get into a state where it's like buying. And if you snap them out of that, then they're going to go. So just keep them focused on what it is that they want. And like I say, just appeal to their emotional needs as well as their logical needs. And that way you're going to increase your chances of them buying from you, sticking with you, and probably buying more from you as well.
That kind of reminds me of... Oh, go ahead, Patricia.
I was just going to say that's why you could do a survey of them once they get into your business, because again, I like the fact that we're not trying to sell to everybody. Okay, that's going to be impossible because everybody doesn't have the same skill set or mindset to want to even do, say, for instance, a home-based business. Maybe that's what they think they want to do. And you can weed people out easily by doing that. It's like if you have you're trying to recruit someone for a regular job. There's the human resources, and then the people have to submit their resumes. They have to put down what their qualifications are, and you can see that. It's just like, for instance, again, you have a petite store and a plus size store. Of course, I'm going to do the fashion example, right? Or you have a tall men's and a regular men's store. You are not going to have the customer for the small going into the tall and vice versa. You're hitting a specific target. And of course, when it's that's just regular buying, but the same thing with buying a product online for starting a business. There's so many different businesses out there. Sometimes for the particular client, it is a hit and miss because they really don't know what they want, unless we know that we want marketers or people who have had businesses. They have that experience, and then we can offer them a little bit more expertise for them to enhance their business. But if they're just starting off new, and they don't, like myself, when I started off in this industry, I did not know a darn thing. I've come a long way because I've been now for about 4 or 5 years into this industry. But if we are attracting people who are newbies, so to speak, we have to expect that we will have to help them a little bit more with our customer service, whereas someone else can just take the ball and run with it. You know what I mean?
Well, Patricia, that kind of also reminds me too, and Neil kind of hit a trigger point. I remember I was listening to a marketer about a year and a half ago, and he was mentioning when you do have, let's say, your online business. Just give me an example of this. When you do have your own online business, and you have your email sequence, stay with that particular offer that you're offering. That's what we've been saying too this evening. Don't get incongruent as far as what you're doing, because you start offering different things you know, like daily or weekly, whatever, you know, people watching you can be like, man, what in the world are you doing? Just, you know, want to leave. That's like saying you own a Toys R Us franchise, and then within it you have nothing but McDonald's products, not one toy. It's like, come on now, you know, of course you're gonna frustrate the potential customer. They're gonna leave. So, you know, that's why we've been saying too, as far as just staying congruent with what you want. And another thing too that we mentioned as well, and Neil, you also brought up something too as well, something that our founder or owner David Wood mentioned. If you've been in a home-based business before, and let's say if whether you maybe had a good or a bad experience, you're gonna come eventually, and I'm not guaranteeing this, but most of the times the people are gonna go and buy again, whether it be a product or be a business owner of that particular company. And again, it goes back to what Neil and Aaron were sharing too, as far as those trigger points, as far as something that's like, okay, something that it can, for one, solve a problem for not only them, but maybe for people around them. You know, solve, you know, it's a solution, solution. Solution. What do I want to say? Solution problem. What not solution solver? That's what I want to say. Solution solver for whatever your community is. And another important thing to keep in mind is blogs and YouTube videos are pretty good with this, because once you're able to find out your keywords, you can be really specific as far as that where you're targeting. So you won't have to be all over the place trying to get people to see what it is that you're offering, because like we just said, we're not offering to everybody, because when you start marketing to everybody, you're really offering to nobody as far as exactly finding out what it is that your target market is. So that's another cool thing too, as far as like when you have your own blog and when you do, you know, videos, when you have, you know, punching those keywords, people are searching for those within Google, which is pretty cool, because again, like we just mentioned, you don't have to worry about going all over the place too. And then, hey, you can even be kind of even clever as far as, and this is what when they say you're doing a campaign via Facebook, you can do particular like interests, maybe your age, the age range as well too, or maybe what part of the world that they might be in. I noticed that in YouTube. I ran a campaign not too long ago, and I was looking just for people that spoke English, and there are people that were into self-development, personal development, and, you know, people that are like do-it-yourselfers, or also avid buyers too, or somebody. I couldn't remember the categories, but I was real specific as far as what my target market wanted. So that was clear to go, because I know if you're doing, again, going back to Facebook, if you're doing a campaign on Facebook, if you just say, if you try to just say, I'm just trying to just share this with everybody, sometimes they'll block, and sometimes you won't be to go. They will say that it's not good to go because of it's not really specific, or it's like kind of all out there. It's kind of, Facebook is kind of tricky. I'm not too sure with the specifics. You have to go and find out exactly what it is too, because I know sometimes as far as images, or if it's too big or whatever, the text. I know, Neil, you had a problem with this a few months ago as well. They're kind of good with if you have a video too, but my point is, you can be real specific what it is that you're doing a campaign of any kind, just so you don't have to worry about, again, gun slaying this for everybody, and just, you know, just throwing out a fishing net and just hoping they can just wheel in anybody. No, you have to do all that. Just being specific, so you know, okay, this is what I want, and I know what my target market wants. So, you know, this is so you don't go all over the place. So that's all I wanted to share briefly there.
No, that's cool, and you know, it's these kind of things that you learn through doing this kind of thing. Because I know, you know, when I first got introduced to solo ads, for example, you know, I don't know if anybody knows what solo ads are, but basically you're just buying. Somebody's got an email list. They've been collecting email addresses from a particular campaign, maybe from a blog, or maybe they're paying for them leads. But the point is, you can go to that person and say, I want you to send me a certain amount of clicks. And all the clicks is basically someone who is clicked onto the link on the email and taken to your particular page, whatever that page is. But basically, when I purchased that solo ad, I was expecting, you know, there was a whole host of things I didn't understand. You know, at first I didn't even understand that I needed a capture page, you know, to collect the name and email address. And then once I understood about using a capture page, I would always use somebody else's capture page rather than creating my own. So it's just things that you learn as time goes on. But you know, the thing the thing about you know, I've completely lost my train of thought. But sorry. Yeah, I mean, when the more you get into this kind of thing, it's just the more you learn. It's not a case of simply, you know, buying a solo ad and expecting all these sales to come in. That was the thing for me. You know, when I first brought one, I thought, oh, I spent $50 today, and judging by this person's solo ad reputation, I should be expecting a couple of $100 tomorrow. And that's simply not the case. You know, there's a whole host of things that you need to understand when actually buying. This is just an example on a solo ad. So, you know, these are you know, people. These are not, you know, it's just because you can't see them. These are people with actual problems and with needs, the reasons why they're coming to your website. And, you know, without understanding that, then that would be the reason why my conversion rates were low. That was the reason why I was not making any sales. And, you know, this is the thing, is people, again, coming back to the point, people don't want to be sold to, but people want to buy. And if you're not giving them the reason to buy, then they're not going to buy from you. You're just basically throwing something in their face. So in my case, I was literally just creating a box standard capture page that I didn't even pay too much attention to. I just threw it up there thinking, you know, collect the email addresses, not realizing what actually, you know, the reason why they're actually opting in the first place, sending them directly through to a sales page, which they probably didn't like because it wasn't very related to the reason why they opted in the first place, you know, and it's just things like that. You know, why, when you're buying traffic, you know, like Andre said, you can get super targeted, but if you're not relating it at all to the reason why they're there, you're just not going to make any sales. And you can buy all the traffic you want, but it's not going to make a great deal of difference. And until you start understanding or getting into the mindset of why are these people on here? Why are they clicking through to this particular ad? What do they want? How can I help them? Once you start getting into that kind of mindset of how you can help them, how you can serve them, then regardless of how much money you spend, you're just not going to make a great deal of money. I'm not going to say you're not going to make no sales, because chances are you might. But if you're spending $200 and you're making $30 back, how many people are really going to do that? You know, it's just one of them things. You've got to know your numbers. And if you can honestly say, right, okay, so I'm buying a solo ad because I'm going to promote an offer that, again, coming back to the same point, offers somebody to get traffic to their website. You know, once you've got a capture page that basically says, you know, I could teach you how to generate 50 targeted leads every day or every week, whatever you want to say, then that person is there for that reason. So then you do that, then you take them through. Now, traditionally, we used to send them through from a capture page to a sales page, but eventually that doesn't work now because people have got very skeptical about going directly through to sales page. People want value up front. It used to be the old way of offering them a little bit of value and then asking for the sale and then giving them the rest of the value. And unfortunately, that for me, well, this is for me. I'm not actually saying that this doesn't work, because it might for other people, but you can't give them partial value up front. You have to give them a lot more value up front to make them realize that you are the person that they need to be spending time with. Because again, same point, if you're not going to give them what they want, they're going to go somewhere else that does. So you need to make them realize that you are the authority. You are the person they need to be paying attention to. You are the person who can answer their problems, their needs. And if you can give them and show them the value in what you're doing, then branch it over to what you're actually selling. Again, closely linked, very closely linked. If you can do that, they're going to buy from you all day long because they're going to see the value in what you've got to offer. But again, it has to be closely related. So when they actually opt in, the next page that you have should be what we call a bridge page, a thank you page, something like that. Now, this could be used for you to maybe pre-sell the sales page, or maybe even try and sell something yourself. Me personally, I would not advise that. Again, we're talking about building up value. You know, chances are you might make a few sales, but again, if you're looking for the long term, what you really should be doing is looking to build up the value. Okay, you can, I suppose you can do a pre-sell and take them onto a sales page, but again, for me, it's all about long term. And if you've got a long term vision about building a sustainable business and not making a few quick sales, you need to be thinking about the value. Why are they there? How can you help them? And what better experience can you take? So when they come to you and just expect something like, I don't know, a quick lesson in how to generate 50 targeted leads every single day, every single week, whatever it is, then what else could you offer on top of that to make them think, you know what, I didn't know that. And just give them, this is called an aha moment, to make them stand back and just think, I didn't know that. And if you can do that, then you are now, in their eyes, the authority. They're going to pay attention to you. They're going to listen to you all day long. So anytime you email them, they're going to be looking out for you, because I know there are a few particular people that I look for, and no matter, I can not be on my phone, not be in my email inbox for about a week. You know, when we go to company events, I can't get access to my emails because it takes me the best part of 2 days to get to our event. But the first thing I will do as soon as I get access to my emails, I'll look through, and if I see anybody's email of these people who I look out for, I'm going to go back and I'm going to open them, because I see the value in what they offer. And if you can give that person an aha moment to make them stand back and just think, you know what, I didn't know that, and that's just taking your experience to the next level, you're now automatically seen as the authority in their eyes. And anytime you email them, anytime you look to whatever you do, they're going to open them, they're going to follow you, because you've now given them the experience to take it to the next level. And like I say, if you can offer something at that point to say, right, if you liked this, then buy this or do this, you know, I'm going to then show you how to do this and take it even further, then that's how you look to extend it beyond where they're current at. So if you're just looking for a name and email address, get the name and email address, and on the thank you page you give a quick lesson that takes them experience, and then you give them something that gives them an eye-opening experience, just thinking, you know what, I didn't know that. And then you say, you know what, if you like this, then buy this, because once you're inside here, I'm going to teach you how to do this. And again, it's just taking them again to the next level. And as long as it fits, as long as it logically fits and they're all congruent with each other, gives them experience, goes further and further and further, they're just going to follow, because it's a natural progression, and that's all you're looking for. You just want to give them breakthrough after breakthrough. And if you could, like I said, there are certain things that they don't know what they don't know. So if you can give them something that just opens their eyes, of course they're not going to know that. So if you don't give it to them, they're not really going to miss it, of course. But if you can give them that, that's where you'll automatically get instant authority recognition. That is absolutely critical if you want to have a longevity in the business, because once you get that, you know, there are a few people in our business, you know, Andre's already said David Wood is our company founder. There are a couple of other people. There's a guy called Vic Streiser who I follow, and Ray Higdon. 3 people who I follow. If anytime they email, I'm always opening their emails every single time, because I learn something huge from them. And it's, you know, that to me that's what you should be aspiring to. If you email them, regardless of what time of day it is, regardless of what day it is, or maybe even they've missed one day and they come back, look in their emails and just think, you know what, I missed that person, I need to get that email. That's the kind of logic you want to instill in your customer's mind. But you can only do that by providing the value up front. You can't expect to get them to buy into the value if they don't see what the value is. Again, they've already got something in mind what they want. And if you're not going to give it to them, they're going to find it somewhere else. So if you can give them something, again, this is what they're here for. You give them an experience, and then you take it to the next level. Give them something that they didn't already know. You've automatically got authority recognition. So now you can, at that point, that would be a key time to say, if you like this, buy into it. Again, no results are guaranteed, so I'm not going to say to you that is your quick, you know, there's no quick rich guide. You know, that's not going to be something that propels you to multi-million-dollar status. It takes time. You need to build it up. But, you know, it's just all to do with staying congruent to the reason why they signed up. Why are they there? It all boils down to that. But if you can give them the experience that they've never had, and this is another key as well, because when you actually offer to sell them something, if you can offer something that they're not going to get nowhere else, then that is also key as well. You know, so if, like I say, if you can give them an experience that they're not going to get anywhere else, and teach them something that they're not going to get anywhere else, that is another key reason. But you think about it. So when they sign up, they've got this. You then take their experience to the next level, beyond what they could possibly think of. At that point, you offer them something of value, but they have to buy for it. Now, you could buy something small, something just a couple of dollars. You've now got them into the buyer mentality. At that point, back to the same principle, closely related. So you've offered them a small one-time thing. Next step is, so back to the principle of website building. They want to build a website. You've offered them, I don't know, website templates. Then the next step is, okay, website hosting. Then traffic. You're offering them the next logical step that they're thinking in their mind. So once you've got a website, you could offer them website templates. Maybe they're not thinking that, but that's just an additional bonus. Any website needs hosting. Any website needs traffic. It's just the next logical step that they've got in their mind, and you're automatically in their mind what it is that they're going to want on the next step. And if you take them through that, then they're going to just see you as the authority, and they're going to come back to you again and again and again. And like I said, I don't know about you, but there are people that I just pay attention to, and anytime they email me, I'm just opening them all the time. Even if I go through my emails and realise I haven't seen, there was one particular email that I haven't seen, and it was a couple of days ago, I'll still open it and I'll still go through the information, because this is a person I respect, I look up to, and I know I'm going to learn from. And that's the kind of authority you want to be recognised. But the only way you do that is by providing the value up front. So if that's not something that you've been doing, that's probably a reason why you've not been having the results you want. So offer the value up front. Don't think you don't have the skeptical mindset of thinking that, if I give them this, then they're just going to take it and run. You might have that anyway. That's just, there are freebie seekers in the world, so don't have that mindset thinking I'm not going to do that because they're just going to run. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the world. There are people out there that are going to do that. So, but as long as you keep that in your mind, that's all you're going to attract anyway. You just got to let those things go. And just think, what? There are people out there that are going to do that. That's fine, but they're not the people I'm after anyway. So if they want to do that and they run, they're not going to do anything with it anyway, because they're just after information after information after information. I used to be one of these people. I used to want to collect information, and it gets you nowhere. I can speak from experience. It gets you nowhere because all you do is collect information, and information is no good if it's not being shared. So at the end of the day, share the information, because that's the only way you're going to be recognised as the authority, and that's the only way you're going to start building up your business.
And also, too, might as well take your we might as well also have your home base from whatever offer that you want to talk about. Another thing that we almost forgot to mention is storytelling. Really, all those companies that we were talking about earlier, they really do pretty well. Like, perfect example, when you see them on commercials, or maybe watch the commercials on YouTube, they do a pretty good job at as far as storytelling, just trying to relate whatever it is they're offering to that potential customer. Again, what I just mentioned a few moments ago, as far as having your own home base, is your own blog platform. As you see below, as far as the Yes Let Me In button, which you go and click that, you'll see that's a $17 free trial for 2 weeks, just to see your own blogging platform. And again, to get started, if you don't already have one, as far as what we were sharing earlier, as far as having the information to, and then maybe using storytelling or wherever it is that you're offering to, and put it on your own blog, because that's yours. You got to have a home base if you want to do something online. And again, not taking you away from, let's say, if you are doing another biz up, because we're just here just to help enhance your offer even more so, and then to get more eyeballs to what you're doing. Because let's say, for example, you might be doing some calls, still using the phone. There's nothing wrong with that, but leverage your time. Have more people seeing what it is that you're doing too, so they can eventually come back around and be like, okay, what is it that you're doing again? I read your blog post, and then to start sharing it. Start sharing that particular blog post too. Again, that's yours. Just to again, just give it that shot too, just to see, okay, I have my own blog platform too, so some people can go back to that particular post that you shared, other than trying to maybe inbox you or email you or whatever have you. So that's just wanted to mention as well too, for you. So anything else you guys want to mention before we get closing here?
I will just say one more thing, and this for me is absolutely key. Now, principle stays the same regardless of what industry you're in. In fact, to be honest, you can even go to the shops and this principle stays exactly the same. But if you a good way to get people to buy from you, and that is, obviously they need to see the value in what you're selling. But if you offer them promotions for a limited time, now this is the key word, limited time. How many times have you been to a shop where they say, if you if you buy today, you're gonna get it at half price, and they say the offer ends today, and then you go back next week, and then it's still there. You know, how many times if this shop says buy this now is half price, and you know you go back the next week and it's still there, you're going to feel a little cheated if you brought it there. But if they did it again, you know, say they were selling another product that you wanted, but they said, you know, buy it today because it's only on today, would you buy it at that point? No, you wouldn't, because you're thinking, well, actually, last time I brought, it was still there the following week when I came. So I'm not going to buy now because chances are it will still be there next week anyway. And people will always have that kind of mentality. I'm not going to buy now because it will still be there next week. But if you say it's only today and then people don't buy and then they come back next week and it's gone, all right, fair enough, you may have lost out on a sale or two to start off with, but eventually you're conditioning these people to automatically think it's today and today only. And that, if, like I say, I'm not going to get away from the value. The value is key. It always is going to be key, and that's the key principle. But if you're offering something, if you're emailing someone and saying today I'm going to offer you a 50% guarantee, 50% discount. You know, back to the Black Friday thing that Andre and Patricia were talking about a little bit earlier. You know, they have special offers on for that one particular day. But if that was Black Friday but continued on for another week, then would people really pay too much attention to it and go crazy for that one particular day? Probably not, because they know that they've got all the time that, well, I won't say all the time in the world, but they've got more time than just one day. But if you said, buy this product today and today only, and you did stick to it, again, next time you said that, people will be like, yeah, but you said that last time. And you get that into the mindset, and they're just like, no. And all they're doing is procrastinating, because we always think, you know what, I'll get it later. I'm guilty of it myself. There was one particular fleece that I wanted to buy last year, and it's quite a warm fleece, and I could have done with it now actually because it's quite cold. But you know, I kept seeing it, and I kept thinking, you know, I'll get that next time, I'll get that next time, I'll get that next time, and now it's gone. And you know, that was about a year later. I kept saying now is not the right time, or you know, it was coming up to summer, or I would always come up with something in my mind thinking, don't want it right now, or can't get it right now, or whatever reason I had in my head. And what do you know? I can now not get it. But it's because I kept thinking that it was always going to be there that, you know, I decided I didn't want to buy it. But if they'd have just said, you know what, today is the only day that you're going to get it, I would have brought it there and then, no questions asked. If I didn't have the money, I would have found the money, because I knew that that was the only time I wanted it. But because there was no time scale on it, I was delaying it, thinking I'll get it next time, I'll get it next time, I'll get it next time. And what do you know? Eventually, it's gone. But if they'd just said to me, right, you've got today and today only, I would have brought it, no questions asked. And if I didn't have the money, I would have found the money, because I did actually want it, and I do regret not buying it. But you know, it's one of them things that I'll find another one or something else. But the point remains the same. If you want to instill true value in your customers, then offer them promotions, but for a limited time only. And when you start offering promotions in future, as long as you're sticking to it, then you're going to get them to open their eyes and just think, I've got to buy it because it's only today. And they'll automatically know that in their mind because you stuck by it again and again. Now, you will still get people that are going to email you or contact you, however they do, and say, look, I'll give it you now, please let me in. You've got to stick no. You've got to say no, because that is the only way. Again, back to the same principle. If you're saying, yeah, all right, I'll let you in, word's going to spread, and people are going to think, I don't need to buy now because I know I'll still be able to get in later. And as long as people think like that, they're not going to buy right now. You need to give them a reason to buy now, because they're not going to get it later. And like I say, if regardless of, you know, how much value, you could have the best thing since sliced bread, but if you think that you can get it later, you're not going to act now. You've got to give them a reason to act now and make sure you stick to it, regardless of what they offer you, regardless of anything. You know, they could offer you, I'll buy 10 from you, whatever it is. You know, if you're selling multiple products, you've got to say no, because that is a true key. If people don't see the value in it, they're not going to buy it.
Yep, that is so true.
That's true. That's true. And we know that, again, back in the retail industry, that they have sales all the time and they have specials all the time because they get in a limited amount or a certain amount, and the store has got to move that amount because they need to sell it. And if the person is procrastinating, then they're going to miss out when they go back and they found it's either sold out or it's discontinued or the store no longer carries that offer or it goes back up into the regular price. They still could buy it, but we want to get them conditioned. I think the main thing is they said you want to get your customers conditioned to perform, so to speak, for you the way you want them to, because of course they can always say forget you, I can buy something from somewhere else or I can purchase something from somewhere else, but we're offering them a unique product right now. Of course we're always going to be selling our blog, and we're always going to be having this particular item. However, there is a time period when they will see the need in their lives that they need something like this because now they've come up upon this opportunity because of their why again. What is their why? They have a need to make money. Maybe they lost their job. Once again, they want to support a spouse who's ill, or they want to fund something in particular, like their life, a freedom that they've been looking for. They no longer want to work in a cubicle. So we offer them this particular platform because they need it, and we have to find their need, the niche that we have for ourselves to attract these particular people to become our customers is only on us. And all the four of us here, and we have one more person who's not here today on our panel, we all have that particular niche that we can appeal to those kinds of people and mindsets of why they need to get this particular product that we have, because it can change their lives. Whether they see it now or later, different circumstances change where, yes, they see the need to buy this particular thing, or they need to lock arms with us and become part of our team. They will be able to have that support system, and that we can offer them in a lifetime value if they would join us. But then again, we can offer that there's a scarcity too. If they don't do it in a certain amount of time period, maybe we will be so booked that we won't have time for them. And yes, again, they could go on to somebody else and find someone else. But if they are attracted to us and we have given them value, they will be back to us. Because I've done that too. Like Neil, you mentioned Ray Higdon, you mentioned Nick Strayhouse, you mentioned other people who offer valuable content. You may not be their direct customer, but you know that when they have some value to share, you're right there opening up their information. And if they said, this information is only going to be available for a week or a day or 3 days, and then they're taking it down, you would hop on that right away because you want to see what it is they're talking about. And the same thing for us. We like I said, we want to be authorities to whoever we're attracting because they don't know what we know. And some people maybe who we're attracting know more than we know. However, they're coming to us for a particular reason. And for us to grow our businesses and to get the clients that we need, then we have to, like I said, create that scarcity for them to want to click that button down below and join us.
Yeah, and also too, when you decide to go join forces with us, go and get your ticket for what we have here in the next couple weeks to one of our events. So you'll also be able to learn from 6- and 7-figure earners too, from exactly what we just shared here, and a little bit more of a bigger level. So that's what I want.
Everybody have their live stream tickets?
Oh yeah, got it at the last event. Hit when you decide to join forces with us too. So that's always the key thing to learn from. So that being said, we will see you guys next week, same time, same place, whatever time in the world. Well, if it's 11 out there in the UK, or 4 p.m. out there in New Mexico, or 3 p.m. California time, Pacific, I say. And that being said, we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
Bye.